live to tell about it. One more week further into the year of 2018, we get closer to Halloween.
Yes.
We get closer to all kinds of special celebrations here in America for Halloween festival season.
Yes, and this weekend is LA Comic-Con. We have 2 panels coming up.
It is not happening this weekend. LA Comic-Con is coming up this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Gasp.
Gasp, yes.
Gasp. Is that really LA Comic-Con coming up this weekend?
Yep.
Because today is October 23rd. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OneRing.net. This is Torn Tuesday, and this is amazing. Torn is our affectionate acronym for the OneRing.net, the one-stop mega web portal for all J.R.R. Tolkien fans, Hobbit fans, Silmarillion, Lord of the Rings.
Overall Tolkien fans.
Unfinished Tales, The Tale of Beren and Luthien, and the newly published The Fall of Gondolin. Yes. Aren't we lucky to be living in a time when more J.R.R. Tolkien books are being published right this year? It's been a magical year for geeks, nerds, ringers, and everybody in the world of Marvel, Trek, and Star Wars fandom. Crazy business happening. Harry Potter fans going crazy. The upcoming film coming out soon. Good year to be a geek.
Yes, Doctor Who fans going crazy as well.
Oh my God, yes they are. Yes they are. Walking Dead fans going crazy.
Not so much.
No, actually, they seem to be rather mellow this year.
Yes.
It's American Horror Story fans that are making a ruckus. Boy, oh my gosh. Anybody watching Apocalypse? AHS? Anybody? No?
That would be a negatory from me.
To see the return of the witches from the 3rd season. Was it the 3rd season where they had...
Spoilers?
You know, well, everyone's been talking about it for months. It's not a spoiler. Everyone knew that, Gabori Sidibe, and all these great...
I've never watched this show, so I have no idea.
No, so you don't know what's happening.
Nope.
That's like when someone talks to me about Poldark or,
Poldark is good.
Outlander. Is it Outlander? Right? People, see, these are hit shows that I feel like I've missed the train. I have missed the bus sometimes. But, I try my best. Raise your hand if you've been watching the animated Disenchantment on Netflix from Matt Groening. Yes, renewed for 2 more seasons.
Yes.
Yay! Very funny show. Very
good.
Really good.
So good. Did you finish it?
Yeah, right through to the very last scene at the end credits at the end of season 1. Did you see it? Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Don't want to say anything, but it's really good and you should check it out. If you enjoy anything kind of like Mel Brooks and the old Simpsons, Princess Bride, anything like that, Disenchantment is a great show.
Disenchantment is a great show, and much more to come. This is such a good year for nerds and geeks, starting with one of my favorite nerds in the world, Hannah Greenwood, everybody. Yay! Big round of applause. Hannah is here. Thank you. Wow, that actually happened. I got real live applause out of that. We are broadcasting live. Hannah, you're here with me.
Yes, I am, and you're here with me. And we also have a special guest as well.
We do have a very special guest. We're going to introduce Sebastian from Stranger Comics.
Hello, hello.
He's sitting right over here. Whoop. Cut that camera over there. There he is. Oh,
yeah,
hey.
There he is.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sebastian.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Good to be on this ship.
Why isn't it a great year to be a geek?
It's a fantastic year to be. It's always a good year to be a geek.
Amen.
Absolutely. I would say yes, it's true. That is very, but particularly good, I think. Things have been rearing up. The news of Amazon making a new Lord of the Rings TV series.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had you on the air yet to talk about this, brother, and I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about some amazing titles. Yes. Arathune. We're going to talk about Niobe. She is life. Yay! Yay. And I'm so down to talk about some great books from Stranger Comics. Sebastian is here. My name, the amiable host that you see with the most. I'm Clifford Broadway. Nice to have you guys here with us. I'm a writer, contributor for the OneRing.net going back 20 years. I cannot believe that we're really going to have a major convention this weekend. Are you coming? Are you guys have a booth?
We have a booth.
Yes? Okay.
Yes,
1118.
1118.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yep.
My gosh. And then the next weekend it's Dia de los Muertos, the big the arts festival, one of my favorite arts and cultural festivals in LA. And then it's Halloween. This craziness is happening so fast.
Crazy.
Then it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, Hanukkah, and the year's over. What happened? What happened? To blink.
It's gone quick. It's gone very quick beam.
Oh, yeah.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
I saw what you did
From a
there.
distance,
It's been very quick beam. Tell me, I mean, the excitement in the air is crazy, especially for Lord of the Rings fans.
Sure.
Where are you sitting, Sebastian? Are you on the anxiety side of the fence about Amazon's upcoming series? Are you enthused? Where do you sit?
I sit firmly nestled in the bowels of anxiety. Always, I wrap the blanket of,
A security
anxiety
blanket.
and
Is that Linus's blanket?
yeah, exactly.
That's Linus's
Exactly.
blanket.
Wipe the brow, rinse it out, put it back on again. No, actually, I'm the complete opposite, to be honest. I'm highly excited about the whole thing. The guys at Amazon, they're really gobbling up fantasy. They've got, the Conan the Barbarian stuff, the Wheel of Time they just announced, I believe, and of course
That's Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time.
Robert Jordan's.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, and our friends over at Badali who do our Niobe jewelry line, they do the Wheel of Time and the Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Yes.
Magic stuff.
We do have friends. We'll mention that to those who are the uninitiated. Welcome if you're joining us live. Sebastian is talking about Badali jewelry, and they're custom jewelry, a family that makes the most amazing fantasy properties that they have fully licensed to make real amazing replicas of powerful magic items, magic artifacts, stones, jewel pendants, amulets, and rings of power. And Badali jewelry is one of our favorite. And they actually got licensed jewelry from Niobe.
They do.
From your
they
world,
do.
they did not. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
If I
they
was
do.
I didn't even know
smart, I would have bought one of the necklaces here.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful.
They do the earrings, the necklaces,
that is
the
so cool.
pendants, the whole
Yes.
the chokers.
They used to have a Magic the Gathering license, and they've got a license from Tolkien to do the One Ring
Right.
replicas. They do the Arkenstone of Thrain.
They do beautiful
And in the
stuff.
Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, they have some amazing, beautiful jewelry pieces. Wheel of Time, whoa. Okay, at the same time, Disney announced that they relicensed The Black Cauldron.
Oh,
and that would
really?
be the original book series
Okay.
from the author who wrote the Chronicles of Prydain. And so this is huge. The fantasy engine seems to be coming much more to life. And the final season of Game of
Right.
Thrones next season, next year. Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a juggernaut. And then the novel Children of Blood and Bone, which has been compared a little bit to Niobe, funnily enough. I haven't read it yet, but there's a big buzz on it. Have you heard of it? Children of Blood and Bone?
I saw
Have not.
the billboard over Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh.
They put a billboard that was 3 stories high on the side of Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Okay.
And there it was. It was Children of Blood and Bone,
Wow.
the book. They're pushing the novel
Right.
that hard because it's such a bestseller ahead of them producing the show based
Yeah.
on it. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Okay, I don't even know what to do. What do you think, Hannah, about all this crazy business?
Well, it's good and bad at the same time.
How so? I
Hold
mean,
on,
they're
I'm sorry,
going.
I totally lost my train of thought for a second.
You did? Well, do you want to come back to it?
Maybe.
You know-
It might not have been important, but I totally just. It just, I had a point that I was gonna make, but I can't remember what it is now.
Are you concerned about some of these announcements happening that are not necessarily for the sake of the story, but more for the announcements? That some of the stuff might feel a little bit like they're gobbled up, and where is the level of quality and artistic integrity?
You're wondering where it's going to go. The double
Yeah.
announcement of Star Wars live-action series
Right.
happening just a couple of weeks after Marvel doing live-action limited series for Loki and Scarlet Witch.
Right.
So all these live-action series, whether they're limited run or full seasons, including Lord of the Rings,
Right.
including the engine is really revved up.
Oh, yeah.
It seems that they have finally discovered our appetite.
For fantasy.
Oh, I
You
remember
know?
what it is. I'm just gonna summarize it and say I just hope that they put quality in front of quantity.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
They have to.
They have to, yes.
But for me, 2 reasons why. The imperative is on them because they're very expensive licenses.
You're right.
It is hugely expensive for them to say, we're going to actually create all this. So why would they throw money at it and then do a piss poor job angering the fans and handling the intellectual property badly? Okay? You'd think. but then that's not always an ironclad guarantee. Sometimes they handle the IP very badly, no matter how much money they spent on it.
Oh yeah.
So but I'm the pragmatist,
Okay.
like economic pragmatist as a producer.
So you're not an optimist, you're a...
No, I'm a pragmatist. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm just thinking that they want to make money back on their investment.
Sure.
So it behooves them
Oh, yeah.
to do it well, like you said, quality. But we have no guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
We have no guarantee of any quality, but it is ideally what we'd want. We're on a live format, folks. You want to be part of the live show? Come on, this is a live program. We encourage everybody who's watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Ustream, Twitch. What else are we on live? How many formats are we on? Periscope, Twitter Live. Everybody who's watching us live, look at that phone number floating over Hannah's head. What's that number? 530.
There we go. Now I can do it.
There it is. Area code 530-64-FRODO. It's our hotline. We've got the hotline on right here. We've got LED dice. We've got nerd dice that are going to blink if we roll a perfect roll.
You're such a nerd.
We're going to roll. I got one.
That's awesome.
I got one. Perfect. So we got lots of
I'm so
entertainment
sorry
for you.
he's a nerd.
What's
he's,
that?
He's the biggest nerd.
The biggest nerd in the world right here,
Oh, well, thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Sebastian.
Oh, I was talking about Cliff because he was like, "Oh yeah, I got a perfect roll."
No, you know what? Only
I was just
one.
bantering with you.
I
You
do
know-
like my D10s. I'm a big fan of percentile dice.
You come from an RPG background. These
I
big
do.
dice are like very important. I mean, like show the kids at home. Everybody see these? See these beautiful big digital dice?
Those big dice compensate
huge
for
LED.
a
Thanks,
badly
Vanna.
rolled
Oh.
character.
And hand them over to here you go.
Oh,
Take a look at
Oh,
these.
can I have
Mr.
a
Man.
roll?
here's
Ooh,
one,
ooh,
two.
look
They
at that.
blink when you roll a perfect roll.
All right, so here we go. Let's have
Now
a
tell us about your RPG background because
let's have a roll. Do you know we have some RPG news too?
I want to know.
We just we made a deal with Paizo to turn everything into a role-playing Pathfinder game. So you can now actually play Niobe and her characters,
Really?
and the races and the new feats and the new spells and so on in a Niobe game, which you can get on our Niobe Kickstarter campaign, which is going on right now.
Okay,
that's
let's talk
wonderful.
about that.
We've got a
That's
bunch of good
really,
stuff.
really cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that you
You
had
didn't know that?
licensed the world
Yep.
that you created for a Pathfinder RPG
For
game.
Pathfinder. So any of you guys out
That's
there that play
awesome.
Pathfinder, and you want new feats and you want new races and new character classes, definitely jump on our Niobe Kickstarter. That's kicking right now. We're doing really, really well. Everything's rocking.
Okay, hold on. It looks like
wonderful.
Justin is pulling up a screen. He's trying to show us that Kickstarter right now. But what we're looking at is just his control panel at the moment. But he's about to
Yeah.
pull up. There it is. There it
So
is.
there's
Wow.
our Kickstarter campaign, guys. If you
yeah, check this out.
Google Niobe Returns Kickstarter, or you go on Kickstarter and check out Niobe Returns, that's the page right there, guys, where we have all the new stuff. And there is the new image of Niobe Shear's death.
Oh
And
my
we're-
gosh!
Yeah,
Whoa!
It's pretty
gorgeous.
rocking, and that's also going to be the cover for our Pathfinder game.
Oh really?
Yeah, and you'll actually see, for all those folks out there in the OneRing.net lands, the necklace on there is the necklace you can get as well. There it is. That's the one that the Badali guys make.
That's
and
gorgeous.
So you
Oh my God.
can roleplay as Niobe or any of her Galimrin Wild Elven races. And we're really close, unless, Justin, you can see we've already hit it. We're really close to the $50,000 mark.
Oh yes. Let's try and get it to 50,000 by the end of the show.
If we hit the $50,000 mark by the end of the show, every single backer will get exclusive trading cards, and we've already got bonus features, new stuff in the back. And there's a hardcover for Erathune. It's kind of our dwarven tale. Dwarves v Orcs in the mountains of Groon. There's and you'll appreciate that cover right there, Cliff. You see that on the left? Scroll down, Justin. Right there. There is a Niobe Zelda variant right there on the left. Can you see it?
That's awesome.
And there's an Altered Beast variant as well.
Is that cool?
So
That looks like a cool 16-bit
yes, it is.
version of
Yeah.
Niobe. That is so cool,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Is that Joe and Mac?
So that's Matthew Waite did that out of Chicago. So you have the 8-bit
God, I love
Niobe as
those.
Link. You've got Bonk in the middle, and you've got Dusu as Altered Beast on the right. So you guys can get the collector's set as well. And if you want, Justin, you can keep scrolling down and showing the rest of the guys what other stuff that we have. So the rewards, there's the new cover for Niobe Shear's Death, where Niobe's fighting a Silver Elf Mordecai assassin. These are also new feats and things that you can get in the Pathfinder game.
Tell the folks at home
Yeah.
the name of your universe.
It is the world of Asunder.
The world of Asunda, yes. Because
Asunda.
we sometimes
And that's
talk
the new
about
one.
Arda as like the term,
Mhm.
you know, but to the hardcore Ringer fans,
Sure.
people should know, like, the world we're in, you know, even Dark Crystal fans,
Yeah.
when they're really deep, they know the planet that they're on is Thra.
Right.
Thra, Thra.
Right.
So I want to get right into the granular mythology, because I love the world building. I've
Sure.
always been enamored of your world building.
Thank you.
That comes from your fantasy background as an RPG player, which
Right.
massively informed your creative instincts as a
Yes.
writer and a creator of this world,
Right.
which we've talked about on previous programs with you,
Right.
Sebastian. But the world of Asunda,
Yes.
which people who are very familiar with our broadcast have read some Stranger Comics amazing titles, especially
The Untamed.
The Untamed, which is like one of my abiding favorite revenge stories in any comic book.
Thank you. I see the camera is
So
on me.
good.
I'm going to show you guys.
Yeah, show
I
the
actually bought
folks at
some of
home.
These books here.
Yes, please.
I'm going to put the mic down. Is that the camera I'm looking at like that? Yeah, there we go. Okay, guys. So
Yeah.
out there in the land here. So here we go. So this is kind of what it looks like right there.
I love that edition. That is a beautiful
It's
hardcover
gorgeous.
edition of The Untamed.
And if any video game players out there that play The Last of Us,
That's very kind. Thank you very much. So the video game players that play The Last of Us, the lead designer did this, Hyung, so shout out to him. And for Peter Bergting, who paints the covers of Lord of the Rings in Sweden,
Yeah.
spent 10 years painting this book.
He does. I love Peter Bergting. I love talking to him.
So all this stuff right here is from the world of the Untamed. And on our Kickstarter, you can get all these kind of the special editions of this and Niobe and Erathune and Dusu.
And the beautiful introduction of Niobe. My first introduction to the character was in The Untamed. There she is. That one in your, oh, look at that, dude. Come on, Seb. Look at that, Sebastian. Whoa, that's really sweet. That is really, really sweet. Are those editions also available as add-ons in the Kickstarter? Yeah? Oh man, that is so gorgeous. You guys, these books are gorgeous. The artwork, the artists at Stranger have worked so hard.
You guys can also actually, there are some pledges that one is called Everything Everything, and you can actually get every single beautiful hardcover all in one pledge.
Wow.
Oh my gosh,
There's a
look at that.
hardcover lover pledge special, there's a trade paperback pledge special, all sorts of beautiful stuff. So if you guys are big fans of fantasy and art, we have original art by Jay Lee, who does The Dark Tower.
Yes.
That right there is by Hyung. Do you know what's crazy is that is going to be the new wraparound dust jacket for the latest edition of The Untamed.
Wow.
That is our kind of our homage to the ferryman bringing the stranger back from the dead.
Across the river Styx.
Exactly. And in my world, it's the river of insurrection.
Yep, it's the river of beyond the veil. It is the
Exactly,
great
exactly.
metaphor of being beyond the gate from the living
Yes.
to the world of the dead. Yes.
You're very Tolkien-y.
Very Tolkien indeed.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
look at that. Look at that ethereal ferryman.
Yeah, no, it's Hyung really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's amazing and spooky.
And the new one, the Erathune one, is actually really, really awesome. It kind of combines everything that you've read in all the other books, and it kind of puts a period on the end of the sentence from all the other books in the Erathune hardcover, which is essentially what's in here. If you keep scrolling down too, you'll see we have a new comic out too called Icessa, which is our there she is.
Oh, how beautiful.
She's
Whoa.
a beautiful, badass Vorticassian vampire. She's kind of the
Ooh.
Darth Vader of our world, who's
Oh,
hunting
really?
Niobe across the world.
Huh. I'm getting
Wow.
Poison Ivy vibes from her a bit,
Yeah,
just from the shading.
yeah.
I'm more scared of her chasing me across the landscape than I would be scared of Azog coming after my. Just a tip to, Middle Earth. I mean, considering that they had to invent a villain to chase Thorin.
But you know
Well,
what's
that never existed in the books.
Do you know what's crazy? Speaking of Azog, here is our version right here.
Oh, yeah, you're Azog. He's so cool. Your version. What's the character's name?
His name is Kersheg the Mute.
Yes, Kersheg, the Mute. I remember him.
So this came out in about 2009, and so
Yeah.
when I saw The Hobbit, I was like, that looks, I don't know,
Looks an awful lot like-
so very, very albino orcish. But there's our, this is our original Kersheg the Mute, first edition printing. You can also get as a collector's set on the Kickstarter of The Untamed.
So good. All right, we recommend all of our friends go to Kickstarter and type in Stranger Comics.
Type in Niobe.
Is it easier than Niobe?
Niobe Returns.
Niobe Returns, and you'll
Yeah.
find it there.
Yeah, you'll see all sorts of good stuff on there.
Now, this is amazing. The participation has been so good so far.
It's been overwhelming. Yeah, we've got some.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We have some cosplayers dressing up as Niobe, as Issessa, as our characters. They turn up to conventions.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, like
awesome.
once you hit that level, it's like,
It's a huge
you
honor.
know,
It's quite humbling to
that's-
see folks turning up as your characters to your
Yeah.
booth.
I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feel for you, knowing that you created these characters?
It's
You know?
it is, to be honest, it's very surreal.
Uh-huh.
It's extremely moving when you see folks really take on, I don't know, the spirit of Niobe and these other characters.
Uh-huh.
It has so much, it seems, soulful resonance.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to take a moment from the craziness of working
Mm-hmm.
on the books and the promotion and the grind of the conventions and traveling and so on, that you're really creating some kind of spirit connection with these young guys and gals that dress up as our heroes.
Yeah, and I mean, I know for Niobe, she's reached so many young, women of color,
Right.
and young girls of color as well, and
Yeah.
we need more characters like Niobe.
Yeah, yeah, and I think to you, some of your points earlier, the one beautiful thing about Niobe is, this world I've spent 30 years creating, and it's a very timely thing that it's happening right now, where there's representation, but I think it's just got to make sure it's authentic representation.
Oh,
with
definitely.
I think folks can see through it when it's a little pandering.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Pandering. As long as the stories are great and there is honest authenticity within the stories themselves, that they have their own sense of dignity and purpose, then that's really, that's what matters. So yeah, so I'm hugely honored. So if you guys know, there's a new movie out called The Hate You Give.
Yes.
Yes.
So our co-author from The Hunger Games, Amandla, she is my co-author on Niobe.
Amandla has been very much participating in a big scale marketing campaign for the film, which is great, and it's reaching a lot of communities. And I'm very excited for the release of the film. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I saw it on a Saturday morning. Went through matinee and was bawling my eyes out.
You saw it already? Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I had to
wow.
support. Yeah, she absolutely rocked. Oh, and it's her birthday today too. So happy birthday, Amanda, if you're watching.
No way, for
yeah.
real. Hey,
Yes, happy birthday.
happy birthday. I used to know how to say that in Elvish, in Quenya, but I don't anymore. But yes, happy birthday, Amandla. How
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Helped co-create. She's been co-wrote and co-created Niobe with you. And this is fascinating to share, to share a creative energy with such a young person.
Yeah, it's amazing.
so cool.
We first started working on it maybe 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So she, I met her at a festival for one of my kids' books, and I just ran up to her like a screaming fanboy and said, "You must be Niobe." And she was like, "Okay, crazy guy." And she read The Untamed and fell in love with the character, and then we signed Ashley A. Woods out of Chicago to do the artwork.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize at the time, but it became the first nationally distributed comic book in history with a black female author, artist, and hero in the history of comic books.
Wow.
which is kind of ridiculous. But so it's gone amazingly well. We've been honored to have Viola Davis gave us the forward in the hardcover of Niobe.
She sure did. I read. Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's been a really tremendous journey to So what we've done is with The Untamed is kind of set in our world's Morocco. It's set in the desert of the dying tree near Yerum.
Mm-hmm.
And Niobe Shear's life is set in the Ugoma jungle in Ujoa, our world's West Africa. Same with Dusu. And Erethune is set in Hurfang, which is my world's kind of Scandinavia, in the town of Sharbagenhem. So we really
cool.
get to see, no matter where you're from, you get to experience different parts of our fantasy world. And we have, for the hardcore fans out there, if we hit a certain stretch goal and social media goal, I will actually give you the translation to the runes I've created. So when you read the books and you want to learn how to translate the runes for your games or for your own nerdy knowledge, we've got to hit those goals. So, and we're giving you the Asunder font too, so you can use the fonts that we've been creating as
I'm
well.
digging that. That is super, super cool. The folks are on the live chat.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
Lots of people here. Look at everybody. Hey, what's up, Stephanie? Anyone who creates an amazing new world always fascinates me. It is so fulfilling to see them succeed. Thank you, Stephanie. That is true.
Thank you,
well
Steph.
said. Well, it's true because Professor Tolkien considered it he regarded the creative aspect as being a writer as a very important and spiritually satisfying part of his life and his belief in God and his Catholicism. What he felt was the best way to honor the creator would to be a sub-creator. You guys are familiar with this concept? Anyone who reads Humphrey Carpenter's biography of J.R.R. Tolkien, or take a look at the published letters of Tolkien, they're so worth reading, and they will highly, highly inform you guys. I know that you're a writer, creator, director, and you as well. Creative minds like Tolkien are interesting to explore. And to me, I read his personal letters and find out that he is spiritually motivated to be a creator of a world so that he can say, this is my way of honoring the great one who created our world.
Wow.
Yes.
You see?
That's amazing.
And this is, for him, it is a fulfilling spiritual experience to be a sub-creator. And he thinks it is the most beautiful and appropriate way to celebrate what is divine in him by an extension of being part of the creation he's living in. You know, an extension of the divine through his talent and his efforts. And that's a really fascinating spiritual notion. And no, I'm not a Roman Catholic, but I know that there's something that...
we know you're not religious, but bringing it back to
But no, but it is a very
humanity.
satisfying concept to think of that writing would take him in this direction.
But
you know?
he stated that later in life. Earlier in life, and earlier in the letters, he says he wanted to write, J.R.R. Tolkien wanted to write a mythology and create a world for the English, right? Like he wanted to create a mythology for English society.
A mythology based on the languages of England, based on the soil and the dirt of England,
because
based
England
on language. Yes.
was, in the history of time, England was a latecomer to, the building a mythology. So nowadays, do you see the same thing happening, Sebastian, with your world? You've kind of created this fantasy world for marginalized is not the right word, but an underserved,
a global audience
community. Do you see some parallels that there is a community of starved fantasy lovers that have not been served by stories that you're starting to see success and that the cosplay and everything like that?
Sure. I think for me, growing up as a mixed kid, growing up in England, and loving playing D&D and Warhammer and just everything in general, it really felt like there was an honest void for the heroes, especially to be folks of color. Even in Tolkien's world, the Umbar and, the guys that were the brown folks that were like, they're always the easily seduced by the Dark Lord kind of guys. And for me, I kind of just wanted to turn everything on its head and create a world that everybody, doesn't matter if you're white, black, or brown, you can see yourself as the hero. And it's funny, Cliff, I mean, you mentioned spiritual themes. We touch on a lot of spirituality, I think, within our world of Asunder. But I think I like to reflect it in the, I guess, the day-to-day nuances of who we are as people, and bring it back down to a human level where we can, really kind of dive into stories that touch on things like wanting to be a better father, wanting to be a better mother or a better son, or obligation versus adventure. The weight, Niobe really was a character that I wanted to kind of see myself, wanted to create a character where I could pour all of my own hopes and fears and vulnerabilities on her winged shoulders. And she's mixed, she's half black, half white, but she's also half elven, half human, but half angel, half demon, to reflect the duality within all of us that we all share.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it doesn't matter really at that point. Yes, she's black and unapologetically so, but she's also struggling to connect with her ancestors. So many folks can relate to those kind of inner struggles. So you can put that in your no matter what faith you are, whether it's Catholic or Protestant, or you believe in Egyptology or Nordic mythology or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You want to create with your own. You want to connect with your roots. And so for Niobe, she is essentially our Jesus, our Messiah, our Buddha. But she is that very Aragorn in the sense that she's that reluctant Messiah. She's got the weight of the world on her shoulders on a spiritual level, because if she's half angel, half demon, it means her dad is the devil. And how does she fight against that? So we really kind of amp up all these inner turmoil things that I think we all struggle with inherently. And then if you plant these kind of these heroes that we can all kind of relate to in a global world, then it allows everybody to kind of see themselves, put themselves in their own position and say, what would I do? It's a lot to ask of Niobe, but, she can do it.
Definitely.
Now that
has the UK, the US, the UK, the world has kind of globalized, and
Right.
Everyone can live everywhere now. So do you think this story, your world, is just as vibrant for current UK and US society as Tolkien's world was when he wrote it in 1937?
I think it's a really accurate assessment. I mean, it's a little humbling to be even talking in the same sentence.
Well,
as
we
Tolkien.
rarely get
But
fantasy writers that have the professional experience that you created a world and you're putting it to paper, to television, to comics.
Well, it's very humbling, and I was talking to Hannah about this, it is not uncommon for us to actually have young black girls coming to our booth and either screaming or actually breaking down in tears, grabbing our Niobe comics, seeing themselves reflected, and being cherished and celebrated as the hero, and not fetishized or not the sidekick, and so on. So we really, really kind of embrace that reality. And it's a huge responsibility as well to make sure that the real soul heading in these areas where we're being polarized. The conversations are getting less and less civil. You can't have a conversation, it seems, with people who have a different opinion as yourself. So for me, we've lost a few fans, and peace out to those folks. Because to me, representation matters in the most authentic and honest way, not because it's a hashtag trending or something that's currently seemingly like folks care. I think we're still in this kind of place where diversity is a bit of a catchy catch-all phrase.
Thank you. Somebody finally said that. I'm so sorry for
Yeah,
interrupting
no, it's
you,
fine.
but I wholeheartedly agree with that
Yeah.
so much.
It's crazy. Like we get a lot of these we have a lot of interest in our projects because it's, oh, you have diversity, and you're like, you look at them skeptically. Are you just asking me that because it's Black History Month? Do you really care?
No, the conversation, brother, is not about demographics. We don't expect creators
right.
of content, the writers, the very thoughtful people like you who are creating this type of world building, this content. We don't expect that word demographics to be used as a cheap analytical system
right.
to make stories just a cookie cutter, just for what you think is. No. It has to be much more needfully driven by the humanism, at least, that's behind it.
Right.
The humanism, the human understanding. The very basic understanding that storytelling is very powerful and representation is very powerful to many, many people in such a way, almost religiously so. Storytelling can be taken to all of that level and more.
100%.
Oh, hello. Sounds like Hollywood Boulevard behind me. There's sirens going by. But
someone asked a question too. Sebastian,
seriously,
this is my first exposure to you and your team's work, besides it being simply outstanding. Oh, that's very kind. What were your favorite stories, characters, or experiences that you left an impact? That's a great question. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Randall. That's a very good question.
So the things that really moved me, I guess, as a young chap, was music. Was probably my biggest the biggest impact that had an impact on my life. Also cinematically, when I listened to certain music, like when I wrote The Untamed, I listened to Gorecki a lot, as well as the soundtrack to all the spaghetti westerns.
Sergio
Leone stuff, the Ennio Morricone music.
Oh, I love that stuff.
It's just magic.
Yeah.
But I listened to a lot of Coltrane, a lot of Fela Kuti, a lot of rare blues, a lot of things that just had a lot of vibrance, and filmmakers too, like Sergio Leone, Kurosawa, some of the old classic 50s and 60s cinema that really, really moved me. Some of the comic books were characters that were the outsiders, like the Incredible Hulk. I really could relate to that because I'm built like a toothpick. Just don't make me angry. You know, it's like, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. So I think some of the characters that had some semblance of depth, again, these inner turmoils. Books I would read, I mean, of course I love Tolkien's work. The autobiography of Malcolm X, that was a huge eye-opener for me as a young man. The concepts of people's journeys, I think, where you can single-minded. Malcolm X has this amazing quote, and I'm going to butcher it, so I'm going to paraphrase it, and he says, don't be in such a hurry to think, don't be in such a hurry to condemn those who don't think like you do or act like you do, because there once was a time you don't think or act like you do now. So what that means is, no matter what you're going through, your perspective, wow, welcome to Hollywood, your perspective can change. So you can have this real fervent kind of opinion on, be really deep-rooted in it. But 10 years from now, you can look back and go, I don't know what I was talking about. So the person next to you can also have that same, can be in that same place. So really take a step back and listen. So I love a lot of those guys. So yeah, you just pulled it up. The classic, it's great. It's an amazing quote. So I find these characters, these heroes in our world fascinating to see how they go on their own kind of Joan of Arc moments, and then they get condemned for having these really fervent beliefs. That's actually really what we're doing with Niobe across these comics. We have her in that Harry Potter way that you kind of grow with her as she gets older.
Right.
And at some point she's going to be called Niobe, she is God, where she will bind nations against the devil, her father, the Untamed, and she will say, I will take no man nor no wife to be my spouse. I will be married to the earth and pour my soul into it to make it better. So I thoroughly enjoy like the concepts of characters and heroes that pour sacrifice into the world to make it better, and they stand up for what they believe in, even when they're being persecuted.
Was that not a massive spoiler for your upcoming story?
Well, we have Niobe Shear's life right now. Then Niobe Shear's death. That's also on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Then we'll have Niobe Shear's spirit. Because
Yes.
Niobe Shear's life is... It's a coming-of-age story. It's a Beauty and the Beast love story, threaded with murder and mystery that leads to war. But it is about a young girl who returns to her ancestors to find her faith.
Yeah.
In Niobe Shear's death, she grows up, kind of like when you're in your 20s and go, well, that doesn't work. I got to hit people over the head to get my point across.
Yeah.
So that's when she becomes a badass bounty hunter, hunting down sex traffickers and slave traders to reflect our own girls they get abducted. She becomes an icon.
Wow.
How
Right?
So
powerful is
good.
that?
That's what that's the new one. Thank you. Yeah, Niobe Shear's death.
So look at that, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Mad respect, Sebastian.
Utterly powerful.
And that has the symbol of the goddess of light behind, in flames behind her.
Oh my goodness.
Do you see that?
yes,
That's
you
which
can
is the
see
symbol
that.
that she wears the necklace. So that's the goddess Arnumenel in flames
Wow.
behind her as she turns her back on her mother to go out and be a badass, basically. And then we're going to have Niobe Shear's spirit, where she combines her faith and her fighting. She realizes she has to combine both elements as she grows.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll have Niobe Shear's God in that kind of Queen Elizabeth, Cleopatra, Joan of Arc type.
Oh wow! So
That
I
way.
see the overall arc in
Yeah.
that's very elegant.
And we planted her all in The Untamed, where you first meet her
Yes.
as the hero, his conscience. And
Yes.
you don't realize as he teaches her how to kill and survive, she teaches him humanity so he can
Yes.
finally be reunited with his family.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Very
Was
good.
that always the plan?
Yeah.
That's
Come on.
fascinating.
Come
Yeah.
on.
No, look, Justin says,
30
was that
years.
always the plan? No, hold on. There's something to be said about the process.
Right.
Because Professor Tolkien did not have very much of a larger overall plan of where he was going.
Right.
When he wrote The Lord of the Rings, he admitted he did not know what he was doing. He didn't know who Strider was
Right.
any
That's
more than the
beautiful,
Hobbits when they first met him in chapter 6 or 7.
Right.
Right? He really was like, oh, I just discovered this person here.
At
I
the
guess I
Prancing
better
Pony.
keep writing. Now, you, however, like most modern fantasy writers and speculative fiction writers,
Right.
you probably have pinpointed many threads and conclusions for much larger arcs. You've got it all
Right.
planned way
We
ahead.
have a lot of
Way
plan-
ahead.
There's a lot planned, but the fun stuff is we've created this world that's as big as Earth. So my hope is I start working with other creators to help go on a journey with me, or go on that journey and discover new stories and interweaving stories that might affect certain outcomes and so on.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah.
But my whole goal for Cliff was The Untamed was the Untamed is a story of a man who's stuck in purgatory.
Yes.
And the devil comes along and says, I will give you 7 days to collect the 7 souls that murdered you and your family.
That's right. Yes.
And he takes this kind of drifter's return to a one-horse town.
Mm-hmm.
But as his memory comes back, he realizes he was a bad man. And this kind of plays into these themes of us being men and wanting to be better men. He comes across this little girl called Niobe and doesn't realize who she is.
Mm-hmm.
But she represents an opportunity for him to be a better father.
I find it interesting that Niobe instantly reacts to him like she's not. To me, everyone else is very threatened by this character, and
Right.
deservedly so.
Right.
Niobe's response to him is that she's very cool as a cucumber. When Niobe first meets him,
Right.
she's not threatened by him.
Right.
He notices this. This is the magic twist in how they meet each other, to me.
Right. No, you
Because her
got it.
listening was open to him.
Yes.
Her being was open to him instead of being threatened by him.
Right.
Did you plan that?
There's a lot.
You
there's
did
a
plan
lot-
that,
Yeah.
Sebastian. You planned that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Guys, so worth reading. Look at that. Who does that?
You're talking about Sean Bean's character.
Right. So you
This is
guys
the character.
know.
He's
where
awesome.
Do you and so for one of the questions is where do you get Niobe? You can get Niobe right now on the Kickstarter.
Yes,
If
please
you want
do.
all the stuff, guys, that we're chatting about, just literally go on Kickstarter and type in Niobe Returns. Niobe Returns, or go on Google and type in Niobe Returns, and you can get all the stuff in her world, The Untamed and Dusu, there it is right there. And if we get a pledge that puts us at the $50,000 mark on this show, we'll have all sorts of bonus stuff for all the backers. But we were very honored to work with Boromir, your very own Sean Bean, on a little animated piece we did with Film Roman, which of course is great because Sean Bean dies and everything. And
for those who don't know, the Film Roman production company for many years made The Simpsons.
Yes.
And produced animated classics here. Oh my God, keep going, Seb.
Yeah, and then you'll see, okay, so there's Buxton right there from Herdefang. He's one of our heroes in Erathune with Niobe when she's older. And you can click on the full previews. There's a little, keep going down, Justin. You can see there's a new one, Issessa, our vampire, as she's throwing down with Charon and Morkamoa, the big orc. Scarlock, our silver elf. There's Niobe all grown up, and Dusu. So, and there's a beautiful first page too of Issessa where you actually see the whole team.
That's your Suicide Squad?
Oh. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
That is not your Suicide Squad.
Hey, no. This is a Tolkien show. You say Fellowship.
This is your
Fellowship.
fellowship.
There you go.
This is your fellowship.
This is a Tolkien show.
Thanks.
Get out of
God
here.
bless America.
That's awesome.
This is your dirty dozen.
There you go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I like that. There, perfect. Give me another one.
One more good one. One more good one.
There we go.
Serious question though.
No, that's
out
awesome.
of all the groups, Defenders, Avengers, Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad Dark, Fellowship.
You mean
the
Justice
Company
League? Justice League Dark.
No, I didn't say Justice League. The Company of Dwarves. What group is this most akin to?
The X-Men? I don't know. Shoot.
Okay, yeah, the X-Men.
The Seven Samurai of crazy people.
Oh, it's so cool though. This silhouettes right here. This is great.
Thank you.
This splash page is great.
Thank you.
I
And the
love
folks
this.
that you get if you guys get Niobe Shear's Life, the big bad orc. Oh, and if you guys hold it right there, go back up, Cliff, Justin. Have you guys ever? You guys, I don't know if you are fans of a rap group called Tribe Called Quest from the '90s.
Yes, of course we love a Tribe Called Quest.
So check that out. That is
No
our
way.
homage cover to one of their albums
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I see.
with Niobe-fied, with Viola Davis, Issa Rae, Amandla, Garcelle, Mayim Bialik. You know her from The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Bialik.
Yes, of course.
She's on there too. If you actually look at her the
Rocket
Niobe's right
scientist.
shoulder,
She's
her
right
shoulder,
there.
where she is, right below Viola Davis. So we're giving
That's
kind of a fun homage variant cover, and a lot of
That deserves
creators.
another roll.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That deserves another roll.
Whoa, snap! Oh,
Oh, okay, cool.
and it
Look
is-
at it.
it's an 11.
He rolled an 11
It's an
on the floor.
11. Oh, look at that, and a 19. I'll take it.
19, that's good.
And
He
then
rolled a
there's a lot
19,
more of our
that's
team right
very,
there.
Very, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Almost as good as that.
And there's our Pathfinder game, guys. Thank you, sir.
You actually have a real Pathfinder.
An
expansion?
official Pathfinder game with the team at Paizo. You guys can get that. There's actually a Paizo reward right now.
Wow.
Pathfinder reward. It's a $100 pledge, and you can get the Erathune hardcover. There's some of the rules. There's our go back up. There's Issessa, done by Jay Lee, and you'll see the wings on the back is the moon behind her. So it's kind of a mockery of what when she throws down against Niobe.
Hey, I wanted to go back up to this team
Yeah.
grid. That's a very diverse group.
Yeah, right.
Does diversity happen organically, like just because people hire their friends, or is there a conscious effort on your part, on any company's part, on any creator's part, whether it's Lord of the Rings
Sure.
or this? Is it a conscious effort to be diverse, to hire diverse, or is this just because your network looks like this?
It's a really poignant question. For me, I think I think it's wonderfully idealistic to say it happens organically. I just don't think that's true, sadly. I mean, to be as honest and blunt as possible, most folks of different cultures don't hang out with other folks of different cultures unless you're playing sports at school or you see folks at the playgrounds. It's not like folks go to each other's homes for Easter dinner, or unless these relationships foster organically at school or at the odd instance of a workplace. For me, it's extremely important to definitely hire the best folks for the job, without question, but to make an active effort is organic for me to make an organic effort to hire folks who are underrepresented. But it's also extremely arrogant and obnoxious for me to sit here and say, I can write a story about a young black girl without a young black girl's nuanced experiences on an intrinsic organic level based on what they've experienced on a day-to-day basis and on a deeper spiritual level. Yes, we can write about other characters from different cultures and so on because we're writers and we're creators and storytellers, and absolutely. But most, I believe, companies, they A, don't care, B, they'll want to check a box because it fills a quota, and that looks good on the balance sheet to the marketplace, that they can do a hashtag. Usually I am super skeptical about it. And then also with the fans that don't want it, it creates this backlash of people going, oh, you're forcing your agenda down my throat and I'm not cool with it. So creates this wash that comes back against folks that are wanting to put, folks who are underrepresented in roles. And sometimes I feel like some of these roles, folks of color get jammed into certain roles that it's very obvious it's pandering. I'm like, I love James Bond, and I think it's great if Idris Elba's James Bond, but I'd prefer Idris Elba to be a different 00 agent, and we create a character that's amazing. Otherwise, you feel like everything gets a little. James Bond is James Bond to have his misogynistic white European male experiences, and that's rooted in his in who he is as a character. And not to say I actually find it tickles me that Idris Elba would play James Bond, but at the same token, can we create amazing characters for black men or women or brown folks and so on and so forth from an authentic place, not just because it seems to be a hashtag trending?
Well, we've talked on this show that Tolkien never explicitly describes how Aragorn looks, what his skin color is. From his letters, we can glean that Aragorn as an archetype is based on a Mediterranean mythological hero. So that would put him firmly in Greece and Turkey, which is a little darker than Danish Viggo Mortensen. So because Tolkien never explicitly calls out the skin color, is it too much of a stretch to think that we could cast a darker actor as a young Aragorn?
Like Oscar Isaac, like a dude like that?
Or who is the bad guy in Venom?
I didn't watch it.
No one watched Venom.
Nope.
I'm not
No,
hip.
we actually have not. I've actually avoided Venom. I don't know why. But
It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
that.
Tolkien doesn't call out a lot of color, a lot of the skin tones in any of his characters. So it's not too far. It is still true to Tolkien that as we go into Lord of the Rings for Amazon,
right,
that you can have elves that aren't blonde hair, blue eyed, and you can have darker skinned heroes.
Actually, Legolas had black hair
But it's funny. I mean, for me,
in the books.
when I
I don't think Tolkien ever said specifically had blonde hair, and he's been depicted as having
I think
raven black hair often.
they're fair though, right? Didn't he say they were fair?
Yeah, certain elves were fair.
Certain elves
but
fair.
some of the qualities that they bore as elves were culturally inspired.
Yes.
And
For me, that's really important. Like when
Yeah.
I work with Daryl, who's an anthropology major. You've had him on your show. For us, creating races, whether it's elves or dwarves or what new races that we've created, you can take a Darwinian approach and say, okay, if you're an elf and you're from this region, you're fair because of the climate. You know, you look like this, based just like on our world, as well as having your own mythos for how the tribes split and why they went into these different regions. I think that way you kind of check your boxes authentically with giving yourself migration patterns and mating patterns and all sorts of various things that allows us to create these. Okay, I want to be an elf from Ujoa, great. I'm going to be black and have dreadlocks or whatever. And oh no, I'm an elf from Herdfang and I look like an Eskimo, you know. Right?
I mean, I was thinking of Riz Ahmed.
Oh.
As a young Aragorn?
Oh, the dude from The Night Of. Yes. Oh, he's a great actor.
The Night Of, yes, he's actually...
do you think a guy like that would make a good young Aragorn?
I think he would, but I think people will lose their minds. I don't think they'll be able to wrap their head around it.
We've talked about him as possible. I don't know if they've lose their minds. We've talked about Riz Ahmed many weeks as a possible
So how does Amazon
actor.
Safely introduce a more diverse character cast?
I think you have to open up the opportunities for other characters that come from other parts of the world of Middle-earth. You know, I mean, if you're going to create new stories for the Middle-earth TV show, Tolkien's world is huge. Let's create some amazing heroes that come from the other regions that we've seen them as nothing but villains. And because, you know, like my son, bless his socks, you know, he's watched The Lord of the Rings a million times, but I can't get him to read the books. So his only interpretation of Tolkien's work is, Dad, how come the folks that look like us, they're just the baddies, right? You know, so I think you have an opportunity there to have, and not just, this is something I often have a hard time with some novel writers, where you have a slew of heroes and then the one cool black character is like, oh, and our dark-skinned hero hailed from these lands, and it's just one obligatory dude. At times that feels very like, oh, he's a cool genius. Yeah, even bless their socks, Game of Thrones.
Well, that's the source of the token character in South Park. That's the,
right. Yes.
The point of Matt Parker and Trey Stone doing constant parody with Token.
Yeah.
He's the artificial black character who's inserted into a white world,
and I think
they know them.
They know
it themselves.
And I think there's a big kind of. I think there's a big disconnect for folks that. Okay, so we do like 20 to 30 conventions, comic conventions a year, and yeah, it's a lot. And we go to Denver, Seattle, Oregon, New York, Baltimore, and obviously a massive portion of our fans are white folks, and they're like, oh my God, this looks great. And they're just, you know, this whole misnomer, like, I don't see color, that's a pile of crap, everyone sees color. Don't kid yourself, you know, that's just so obnoxious. But you see it and you embrace the differences within us, and oh, that's great, you get to explore new cultures, new things. But I think folks are excited to explore new cultures. They're excited to explore new worlds. So don't make up some nonsense like it's all the same and we're all the same. No, we're not. God, that would suck. We have an opportunity to explore new realms. So if you're a fantasy writer or reader, our fans go, oh my God, what is this Dusu book? You know, and our cover for Dusu, you know, I can show you guys. Our cover for Dusu, thank you. Thank you. Is this right here? Right, my whole, and they're like, what is that epicness? I must have a piece of that. That's the beautiful hardcover of Dusu.
That is gorgeous.
And they get to explore the Ugoma jungle. Here, let me see. Can you hold this, darling? Thank you, and I'll show you guys a little bit.
You're, by the way, one of the best presenters of art that we've ever had.
That's very kind. So this is a story. Are you going to hold it then? Thank you. So this is a story of a man of the spirit of the jaguar deep within his soul. When the ancient spirit of the wolf comes hunting him, he has to risk unleashing his own inner beast
that we all can relate to, and risk destroying the tribe he loves just to save them. So again, this is an allegory for our own inner struggles and our own inner rage, and at what cost, when we unleash that rage, does it have on the effect of those that we love? And it has other layers within the story as well, but this is also a story of Niobe's tribe. She just doesn't know it yet. So that gives you kind of a, thank you, that gives you kind of a whiz-bang into what I believe is folks that are white or black or brown, everyone buys Dusu because they're like, dude, that story's rad, the art is rad, let me get a piece of it, right? And they just go, whoa, I'm exploring something I've never seen before because I'm so used to exploring the European medieval mythology, which I love. I'm a King Arthur Vikings fiend type dude, right? But we have that as well in Erethune. We have that as well in other books that we're writing because our world is big. But let's also explore other worlds authentically and see how they all connect and present them with beautiful stories on a soulful level of mothers and sons and fathers and blah, 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 and so on. And our own inner struggles that we deal with on a day-to-day basis that we can relate to politically or with our home life, our own responsibilities and the weight of the world that's beating down us so much these days. If you can plant these seeds of stories within a greater scope of story, for me that's what I'm trying to do, at least with our stories in the world of Asunder.
Hey, changing topics real quick.
Yeah.
Not only are you mixed race, you're bi-coastal. You kind of half the time you're in England, right? Or you grew up in England.
I grew up in England, yeah.
Now you're here on the west coast of America.
Right.
What have you noticed is the difference between Tolkien fans or the love of Tolkien in the UK versus the US?
I've been here for a long time. I'm old now.
No.
A little bit.
Gosh.
Sorry, it's 10:45.
Or make it or a little easier. You do so many conventions around the world. What do you notice the different? Is there a difference in fandoms for fantasy fandoms at all these different places?
I mean, my experiences are really, if you're an obsessed fan of the Professor, you're obsessed. It doesn't matter where you're from. You're just in it. I think that's even the same with, like other kind of fandoms like Doctor Who. Although it's funny that I've noticed my experiences that over here, there seems to be more Whovians than there are in England. Like,
that's quite funny.
Yeah,
actually.
it's crazy when you go to.
I say that as a Whovian.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. But I think there's a little bit of a mystique to things that come from other places, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you're from America and you love Lord of the Rings, there's more of a mystique to the obsession with the English culture within. And you can see it with Harry Potter as well, like all those types of things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're an Anglophile, like I am,
exactly, an Anglophile,
you find yourself naturally attracted to that type of storytelling.
Right.
If because you're so fascinated by those funny little British, cultural things that Tolkien found so amusing. It was very funny for him to make Bilbo uncomfortable because he thought that he was a rural English gentleman who was the ish, and that he didn't stink, and he had all the money, and he could relax. He could relax in his garden all day and eat lemon poppy seed cakes.
Right.
Then Professor Tolkien was like, here's the joke. The fish out of water formula is as old as time for any writer. But even for Professor Tolkien, as smart as he was, he took something that was a really old piece of idiomatic storytelling, a really old thing, and he made it really funny and really great, and it became such a rollicking good adventure, all because Tolkien wanted to make Bilbo uncomfortable.
Right.
Put him out in this place where he wasn't at home, didn't have his pocket handkerchief, but he was poking fun at British people and their habits.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
I love all that. I love that kind of stuff.
It's magic. Those types of things, as you get old and you read it, you go, oh, all these little things I missed. Those nuances of poking fun at yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's probably a huge element to poking fun at yourself.
Indeed. Indeed. Do you know, welcome everybody, welcome. Well, we have wonderful people coming in to visit
Good
Scum
evening,
and
good
Villainy.
evening.
Scum and Villainy Cantina happens to be open. If anyone wants to come and talk to Sebastian, come and join us. We're here at the corner of Hollywood and Cahuenga.
Kevin has a show tonight as well.
Is Kevin doing a show tonight, Tony?
No, he canceled.
Nope. No.
Oh.
Quentin Tarantino got in the way.
Tarantino got in the way of Fat Man on Batman, which was going to happen here tonight. But Sebastian, please, coming back.
I have a question.
You know what? For anybody who's been wondering, because we haven't really acknowledged, that disembodied voice in the background is Justin. That's our producer. He's back there.
So
that's who that is.
Hannah is about to start her career in the arts. Do you have any tips or suggestions? Or how does one make a career out of being creative?
How does, and just to say thank you very much to Randall and all these really lovely comments that are coming in. I really, really appreciate it. When you guys are in, and to that question, when you're in the lab and all you're doing is creating and you're being as naked and vulnerable and raw and exposed as possible for people to just to tear you down or build you up and whatever. So for Randall and all the folks that have left these lovely comments, thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's very good, Randall. Thank you, Randall. Look at that. Such a breath of fresh air, Sebastian, bringing new content and genuine new world with a spectrum of characters with a true representation of all peoples. It is, in my opinion, the way to galvanize our society and new generations that won't be necessarily predisposed to certain character norms.
Oh, that's great. Well put.
Very thoughtful, Randall. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Big time. Thank you very much.
This is the responsibility that storytellers take on when they're serious about it.
You do.
Not that people are just frivolously writing for a cheap paycheck, but storytellers who really take to heart that what they're doing has an impact on people.
Right. And
really.
I mean, to Justin's question, I think the hardest thing for creators is you literally have to work when everybody else is sleeping. You have to work when your friends want to go to the movies. Right. You have to work when you want to go on a date. You want to work. You have to literally, this whole thing of when people say, oh, I wasn't doing anything because I wasn't inspired. I'm like, boy, you inspired? I'm not inspired to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning and just get to it. You know, but sometimes if you wait for I think Stephen King says something, and I'm going to paraphrase it. If you wait for the muse to show up, you're in trouble. He doesn't just suddenly appear. An idea, I said this to my students in Sweden, I said the idea does not come, the idea of content creation does not come from Odin's brow. It has to be thought of and nurtured like your own child. It is like a child that deserves your time and attention. And despite whatever sacrifices you have as a creator, it's a bigger sacrifice on the people that love you because they're not experiencing these moments with you and they don't get to see you while you follow your dreams. Right. That's really difficult. That's a really difficult understanding to come to terms with, that as hard as it is on you, it's harder on the people that love you in your life. That's tough. That's really tough. And so you owe it to not only yourself, but also those that are in your life that love you to make something that has some real grit and honesty and gravitas. And you're also going to be fighting against the society's need for attention, like Snapchat, you know, what filter someone's going to put on their face that day, Instagram, Facebook, dare I say, the crap that's out there in popular music and entertainment, because it's a quick soundbite, it's a quick grab, and it has no soulful resonance. So you're competing amongst all this stuff to gain someone's, you know, moment of attention for just a brief moment to hopefully grab them. And if you've grabbed them, then you've got them with your story and with your the honest representation of who you are as a storyteller. So don't listen to the crap that's out there. fashion trends. So many things are transient, right?
Right.
Like, okay, one year for girls, it's really hip to have eyebrows that are thin. A few years later, it's really hip to have them really thick.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
So when you kind of have an understanding that all that stuff is just kerfuffle, create something and dare to create something. It sounds obnoxious. That's timeless. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing this for?
Not panning to anything that's hip and modern or anything like that.
Nothing that's. Otherwise, it's going to have its moment in the sun. Like, that's why I'm always skeptical of studios and filmmakers that approach me that are like, oh, this is great. We want to get this because Black Panther just came out. We need this.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what's your real agenda here?
You can smell that artifice a mile away, can't you?
Yeah, we've had a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate offers that come in. I appreciate the interest in what we've created. But
indeed,
it's got to have its own sense of dignity, you know. And also, I've got a world, so I want people to see beyond just this is hip right now, you know. We have a big world to explore.
You have a lot of other characters who represent a lot of other backgrounds, a lot of other interests.
Right.
And now, I want to come back to one of my favorite words, I think, because that's great advice, by the way, for a young artist, a young person who is, you know, and he's right, though. I believe, I'm going to back you up on this, Sebastian. Yeah. You'll end up working all the time on something that you're creatively driven by.
Right.
At all the times of the day and night when other things would normally be happening. You know, that special trip to the aquarium down in Long Beach, you know, going to go sing karaoke with me. I'm going to be calling you up in future months saying, hey, Hannah, we're going to go out and have a drink, have some karaoke, bring some friends, and you're going to be like, sorry, I really have to finish this script. And I will respectfully say, I dig it. A creative, I know a lot of artists, I know a lot of writers, but humanism, I believe, may be one of the greatest unsung things that helps understand that quality that you can bring to an endeavor without pushing people the wrong way, without hitting red flags, without sounding like you're throwing red meat at them from a religious point of view or from a political point of view. But when it comes down to humanism and you're just acknowledging what it is that helps us live, survive, and grow, and the philosophy of humanism is to trust that we have a better capacity as human beings to take better care of ourselves than anybody else on the planet.
Definitely.
Who has the faculties to take care of our own human endeavors? Well, humans. And there's a lot to unbox there. There's a lot to unbox there.
Yeah.
But it comes down to we are who we are. We're in the same boat together. We're struggling on the same tiny little blue marble that has a paper-thin atmosphere floating through the chaos of undefined space. I'm going to get all Carl Sagan on you right now. I'm going to get all Carl Sagan on you.
Oh, dear.
And we're the only ones on this little blue dot to help each other out and hand in hand and get through this together. Don't you think that informs your work? Like, without you even subconsciously knowing it. Sometimes?
It's got to. It has to. I mean, you know, if you have any kind of empathy, right?
Any kind of empathy,
Any kind of empathy, and also have the knowledge that you can't please everybody. And some people aren't there yet to receive your empathy. And some folks are going through whatever struggles or internal demons or local influences that they're going through. But hopefully, again, back to that Malcolm X quote, hopefully 10 years, 20 years, they'll figure it out. You know, because otherwise, you know, and as you have that, you grow and you grow with it. Because when I was younger, I had a very short temper and I couldn't fathom certain folks with their certain types of views, you know. But now it's like cool, peace. I gotta keep it moving. I gotta keep it moving.
If Amazon called you tomorrow, would you make time for the next 3 years for the Lord of the Rings series?
No, because I have my own world to create. I can't do that.
Wow. That's brilliant, Sebastian.
I mean, Niobe is my heart, and for me, she is going to change the world.
Well said. You
So
know what?
support the Kickstarter. Let's
Support
hit that goal before the end of the show. We're in the final minutes now.
You know, I really do. I do think that the current tribalism that we're suffering from so
Yes.
much in our attitudes, in our culture, and in our political conversation, I think a lot more humanism might be the antidote to the tribalism which is inflicted upon us so much.
Right.
That's just me talking. I'm going to let that sit right there. I'm just going to let that sit right there.
So yeah, guys, thank you very much.
Look, and I want to encourage our viewers, because our viewers have an intelligence level which is off the scale. They love thoughtful, intelligent
Yes.
fantasy writing. I want to encourage our viewers to check out some very thoughtful, beautifully constructed world building, and look no further than Stranger Comics. Our friend
Thank you.
Sebastian Jones, he's bringing the good stuff to you, and
Thank
we're
you.
glad to bring it to you tonight.
It's
Check out the
content
Kickstarter.
worth reading. No,
Yes,
really, it's
it really is.
Thank
really
you.
good. Like
Yeah,
really,
actually,
really good.
You know what? Yeah,
Thank
it's Stranger Comics. You got something going on, guys. You got that
Thank
mojo.
you.
I think it's awesome. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. And again, for those
appreciate
folks
it.
who want to look you up, you're on social media as
Yeah, you can find me at Stranger Comics, at Stranger Comics on any social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that crazy stuff. Go to strangercomics.com. We will probably have some film announcement stuff coming up, I'm thinking soon.
really.
I think we're going to have some stuff that's going to be announced fairly soon. So any collectors out there that you want first appearances, go to our website, go to the Kickstarter, get introduced to this world, guys. I think fans of Tolkien will, and if you're fans of the artist who does the Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, and Hobbit covers in Sweden, get it on our Niobe Returns Kickstarter going on right now. Yeah, Niobe Returns on the Kickstarter. There it is.
So good.
Yes.
You can start by reading The Untamed if you get the very first preliminary introduction to Niobe.
Thanks,
it's also a
guys.
great place to start with the collected edition of Niobe, She Is Life. Isn't that a great place to start too?
It's a great, Niobe
Yeah.
She's Life is the most famous probably one we have.
So good.
That's a great one to start with.
Sean
Untamed.
Bean fans, check out though.
Sean Bean.
The Untamed.
Sean
volume.
Bean, the Beaners out there, definitely
Bean.
get the Untamed.
Do-
And we have some great rewards that actually give you every single book on discount.
Wow.
So you can get the hardcover lover special. The trade paperback deal is only, I think, $80 for 5 trades.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
That's a great deal.
Yeah,
That's
we've
good.
got some crazy deals on there.
I love it. I'm loving this. Do you know, Hannah, you know how lucky we are to be here?
We're
with-
incredibly lucky.
We're very lucky
More
to
than
be here.
lucky. I mean, thank you so much to. Thank you so much for coming down and
Of
you know,
course.
since you're so busy, I know that you probably want to rest. I use probably very lightly, but
It's been a bit of
Yeah.
traveling. It's been a bit of
Yes.
traveling, but I'll be at LA Comic Con, guys. If you guys out there in Los Angeles, come to LA Comic Con, booth 1118. Yeah.
yes, I'm actually on a panel as well
Yeah.
on Sunday at 11. Women of Middle Earth. I am no man.
Yeah.
Switch that around. But yeah, I will be there in my Eowyn cosplay that I
Hey.
made by literally by
Brilliant.
hand.
That's
literally by
awesome.
hand for a few months.
That's
so,
amazing.
And she fears neither death nor whatever, but you only fear
Yeah.
a cage. What's
I-
the phrase? You only fear a cage.
Yeah, I only
Yes.
fear a cage and my sewing machine. Yeah, no.
Getting ready? No, we do have a presence, as theonering.net does have a viable presence. Justin, we have 2 panels this weekend
Yes.
at LA Comic Con.
Both on Sunday, one at 11 and one at 2.
That's very impressive.
Yes.
It's
That
very
is
impressive.
impressive.
I will be there. I'm not doing any weddings this weekend. I actually have a free weekend. I can actually
Oh.
come and participate at LA
Yeah.
Comic Con.
That's
It's
awesome.
very excited. By the way, Sebastian, if there's ever a special, lovely lady in your life and you guys are getting ready to get married, if that ever happens, has it happened yet?
That's a great plug.
If it ever does, I'm telling you, I would love to officiate your wedding, brother. I would just love to do that.
Very kind.
It would be such a special thing. And you know, but this guy, he's married to his work. That's the sign of a real artist, ladies and gentlemen. He's married to his work. Love this guy. Look up Stranger Comics on all their social media. You can find Hannah, this young filmmaker. You can find her online too at.
Yes, on Twitter you can find me as Simmerlian28, and on Instagram you can find me as Baggins is here, together and no capitalization.
Yes, and you're going to find me, Quickbeam 2000. I, Clifford Broadway, have all kinds of mischief and photos on Instagram and unpleasant, highly unpleasant conversations on Twitter. I'm joking. I'm totally joking. It's actually, my interactions on Twitter have been rather wholesome, considering the toxicity on Twitter. I've managed to navigate all the way from that. But you guys, I want to acknowledge the live audience who has been with us for this great show.
Shout out to Radagast.
Yeah, big shout out to Radagast.
Shout out to Radagast. I appreciate it. If ever I'm a hedgehog infected by dark magic, you'll save me. I can see it happening, so I appreciate that.
That is so good.
That's great.
Some kind of dark magic.
That's awesome.
Hey, calm down there, Sylvester.
I just love Sylvester McCoy. He's the best, isn't he?
He's great.
He is.
He is so. Hey, is there a place for Sylvester McCoy in the?
There's always a place for Sylvester.
In the world of Asunda? There's a way. Yes, we can make that work. I would love that. Okay. Maybe as a voiceover, he would be one of the best narrators for your world.
Oh,
I love that. Ooh.
So would you.
Me?
You got a great voice, Cliff.
Oh my God, wow. Sebastian Jones, ladies and gentlemen, I love this guy. All right, you know what? Hit the Kickstarter. Ladies and gentlemen, go to Kickstarter, look up Niobe, N-I-O-B-E, She Is Life. There it is. And thank you very much for all of your time and attention. Sebastian, we appreciate you being on our live show.
Thank you
guys
so much.
Very much, sir. We love having you here. Thank you to the live audience who has joined us here at Scum and Villainy, and to the hardworking staff of our favorite geek bar in Hollywood. This is theonering.net. Torn Tuesday signing off. Again, we've had a wonderful live show, and it's been so great to have you guys with us. And you too.
No, you.
You. No, you. You too.
No,
hey,
you.
One more roll for all of us. One more roll of the dice. What you got?
Oh.
You got the D20, Hannah.
A 2? I rolled a 2.
Oh.
Good night, everybody. See you next week, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Farewell.